And now, the general weather around Alaska.
The flood warning remains out here for the Kenai River. Areas of the Kenai River, there's a flood warning out from Skilac Lake on down, and that's out until noon Sunday. Wind advisory out for the Alaska Range here, the eastern Alaska Range, from midnight tonight to midnight Friday night for gusty south winds of 20 to 30 miles an hour, with possible gusts as high as 60 miles per hour, mainly through the passes. And then there's a flood watch continues here for the next day or so for the northern 3/4 or so of the Panhandle due to the heavy rains they've been seeing, mostly in the north here. And on the moving on to satellite imagery, here's the system bringing all the heavy rain into the northern portions of the southeast coast, with several inches falling in the last 12 to 18 hours over the central and northern areas there, and lighter amounts down to the south. Areas of rain through across the south central Alaska area into Prince William Sound, Copper River Basin, less of that north of the Alaska Range, but you can see clouds here covering much of the central interior, and then less cloudiness up over the north slope on out to the Arctic coast. And out to the west here, you can see the next system here pushing eastward and kind of southeastward there, bringing rain into the central Aleutians. Another band right through here pushing some rain up toward Kodiak Island into the southwest interior areas. On the chart, a couple of lows here, one right off the Yukon Delta coast, another one here down near the Alaska Peninsula, and frontal system right through here. So rain, gusty winds up to around 40 miles an hour from the eastern Aleutians in toward the Alaska Peninsula today, and becoming a little more showery out toward Adak and Atka behind the front. And rain with this low center moving northward into just crossing the Alaska Range in the upper Tanana Valley during the afternoon hours today. And of course the rain continuing over much of southern Alaska here, with the heavy rain from about Yakutat into the northern Panhandle, again with several inches falling, keeping those flood watches going there. And drier conditions, I mentioned, up over the north slope out to the Arctic coast. For tonight, this system really moving slow, so it's going to continue to rain over the Panhandle through the night tonight. And this low brings more rain into Kodiak Island, spreading up to the North Gulf Coast. Rain should let up a little bit this evening, become a little more showery over south central Alaska, Copper River Basin, just some isolated showers in the upper Tanana Valley, 40-mile country, scattered showers up toward the Yukon Flats. Into the eastern Brooks Range, it stays dry over the North Slope and Arctic coast tonight. Rain here for the Alaska Peninsula. In fact, rain covering much of the eastern Bering Sea. A little bit of a break here to the southwest, maybe into the central Aleutians, and then this next system spreading warm front rains into the western part of the Aleutians. Then tomorrow that whole center moves to between Adak and Atka by 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, down to about 990 millibars. Good rain shield associated with that will push across the eastern Aleutians, and maybe some light rain up toward the Pribilof Islands. A little break developing here just off the southwest coast. But the western part of the state here staying cloudy, definitely cloudy, with a widespread area of light rain and showers occurring from Bristol Bay all the way up to the western Brooks Range. And then some moisture extending along that trough axis all the way to the eastern Arctic coast. Eastern interior stays dry, just some scattered showers in over the Copper River Basin, and showers and areas of light rain here for southern Alaska, lighter for the North Gulf Coast, and a little bit of a break coming into the Panhandle there with some high pressure as that other system moves off well into Canada. High pressure builds in ahead of this next developing system that'll start to increase the wind and rain overnight tomorrow night, and especially into the afternoon on, let's see, Saturday, first day of the weekend, looks wet and windy again for all the southeast coast. Heaviest wind and rain again in the northern areas, and some of that will work back along the North Gulf Coast. This is that old low, as you can see right here. This actually rotates up to the north, and another one, the one back out here, makes a good jog to the east, deepening to 981 millibars. So it just looks wet for the first day of the weekend here across southern and southwest Alaska, all the way up to the northwest Arctic coastal areas. Driest conditions northern Yukon Flats up to the eastern Brooks Range. Arctic Village could see some sun. And basically the north slope and the Arctic coast will be dry. High pressure, drying it out and clearing it out here over the southern Bering Sea. Adak Atka to the eastern Aleutians, looking pretty good with light winds there and some sunshine. And next system, not all that strong, but pushing more rain in toward the western Aleutians. Lows tonight in the 30s to lower 40s over much of interior Alaska, in the 40s for the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, up 51 out at Shimia. And for the Panhandle, lows 45 to 50. Highs tomorrow, 50s to lower 60s, warmest over the southern southeast coast. Otherwise in the 50s over just about all of interior Alaska. A little cooler, upper 40s to near 50 out toward the west coast. In the 40s from the Brooks Range to the Arctic coast, and back in the 50s for the Aleutians and the Bering Sea. Lows the following morning, 30s to lower 40s over a good portion of interior Alaska, all the way to the Arctic coast just about, and out to the Bering Sea coast, mid-40s, mid to upper 40s for the Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, about 45 for Homer, Kodiak, and the Panhandle, mostly in the 40s to maybe some lower 50s. And then for the highs, upper 50s, lower 60s, central eastern interior areas, but staying in the 50s here, south central Alaska, mid-50s Bristol Bay, Kodiak Island, and mid to upper 50s for the southeast coastal regions, and 50 to 55 for the Aleutians, Pribilofs, lower 40s, St. Lawrence Island, mostly in the 40s for the North Slope and the Arctic coast.